Hello and welcome to the Trail and Adventure Motorbike Podcast with me, Clive Barber, and my good mate, Noel Tom. For the days when you can't ride your bike, there's always the Trail and Adventure Motorbike Podcast. Now then, we're back on the run-up to Christmas. But the good news is we've still got a few episodes in the bag and coming your way before Christmas. Don't forget, on the 28th of December, it's the Saturday between Christmas and New Year, we've got the pre-Dakar special being held at the Bike Shed in London. Tickets are now on sale. Check out our socials for the link to the Eventbrite website where we're selling the tickets from. As I said before, unfortunately, we've got a charge this year. We're just hoping to cover expenses. And as I've said several times now, it's going to be an absolutely cracking show. So make sure you come along. This week's exciting episode, we are delighted to welcome back Thomas Hansen all the way from Norway. TSHansen, as he's known on the socials, i.e. Instagram, and his fantastic YouTube channel. Thomas makes some beautiful films, many of which are shot in and around Norway and Scandinavia. If you want some inspiration for somewhere amazing to go, then check out Thomas's films and have a look at Norway because it is absolutely stunning. Thomas has been a really great supporter of the podcast. He was one of our very earliest guests. We've always been very grateful to him for supporting the podcast. And this is the second time we've had Thomas on because we had him on, 2 or 3 years ago. This is just a catch-up, find out what he's been up to in the last couple of years and what his plans are for the future. We have invited Thomas to the last few lightweight adventure festivals. He's always said yes, but something's always cropped up to stop him from coming. We're hoping to get him to the festival in July next year. If you would like to see him, feel free to drop him a note either on YouTube or via Instagram and tell him how much you'd love to see him. Right, let's get on with it.
You're the wrong person for us to complain about it being cold too, aren't you?
I absolutely hate the cold. So
how are you? I haven't seen you for ages.
It's been a while, so I'm busy with work, busy with everything going on. It's kind of been a mental year, to say at least, in just good and bad in that regard. It's kind of like everything just happens and you just have to ride the wave.
It's nearly 3 years since we recorded our episode with Thomas.
3 years since the last one?
It's January 2022 we recorded, and Thomas was one of our first proper famous guests, wasn't he, really?
I feel a little bit honored because when you see what kind of rock stars you guys have become, it's quite a humbling experience for me to sit here and talk with you again.
Rock stars? I was still cleaning up dog shit off the kitchen floor today, so yeah, I don't feel like a rock star, that's for sure.
Oh, but you are putting something into the adventure scene, aren't you? You have done something wrong for 3-4 years now.
We were talking about this the other day, saying how we have, if anything, we have plugged away for a considerable amount of time now.
And a lot of people turn to you guys' show to kind of get the relief or to get the daily dose or what you want to call it. It's quite fascinating, to be honest.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Well, after 6 years, it finally feels as if we've actually got somewhere now. We're getting around 10,000 downloads a month.
Oh, Jesus, is it that good?
Lel Pavey asking us to do the Dakar show with him. We're doing a pre-Dakar show for the second time in December this year. I talked about the guests we're going to get, and I've not been able to reveal the names yet, but flipping heck, they are A-list Dakar motorcycle celebrities, all three of them. And if it comes off, I think after that we can just retire, Noel.
That sounds very appealing.
That said, Noel, you probably haven't heard of any of them.
One of them I hadn't heard of. You were very disappointed when you gave me one name and I hadn't heard of it.
I'm the same. I have no interest in Rally Dakar as kind of like the institution or what you want to call it, that it is. I find it fascinating that people go down there and race and are highly skilled racing riders. But for me, I'm not all that into the racing part. I'm more into the adventure part. I never paid too much attention to that. Formula One, on the other hand, I've been spending way too much time on.
Third time lucky, right? We've tried to do this 3 times now. We've all actually managed to get here on time. Not Thomas's fault any time. Once was mine. And apparently the other time was mine.
My fault not coming to the festivals.
Yeah, we need to talk about the festival as well. We need to get you at Lightweight Adventurous Festival.
My plan was to go both years, but shit happens.
Well, I was talking to one of the organisers today, and they're really keen to get you there. Try and make it happen this year.
For me, that is a kind of little bit weird, and I'm never going to get used to that. I don't see how I kind of create value in that regard. So it's kind of, I never get used to people wanting me to come to festivals and all that kind of crap. I kind of feel like I'm doing my thing, and it's not that particularly interesting.
You're doing your thing, and it's very popular, and you seem a really nice guy. Although we are going to talk about what Robert from Nomad Sweden said about you.
I bet he shared a couple of stories, but to be honest, I have a couple of great stories about him as well. So I think that is more juicy than he got on me, to be honest.
Well, now's the time. Normally, I spend a lot of time preparing questions, but because I feel like I know you, even though we haven't even met, I think I just thought it would just be really nice to have a kind of a very natural conversation, really.
Appreciate that.
People seem to really, and I'll probably take this out, but people seem to really like the conversations that Noel and I have, and I think you will fit into those conversations very well.
Yeah, but I think that is partly because you're always taking a piss on each other in a way, in a kind of like a subtle but still kind of posh and British way.
There's nothing subtle about it. Everything we say about each other, we actually mean.
I do it slightly more subtly than he does. Have you heard on the grapevine that we're both coming to visit you this year, Thomas?
No.
Well, we're both coming, and we might be coming at different times.
Oh, really?
If you're not there when I come over, can we sort of have a pre-arranged place where you leave the key to the cabin so I can get in? Great.
The plan is, it's not much of a plan, but we are both going to come to Norway next summer.
Oh, that is brilliant. I was afraid you were going to say September because that is a busy month for me, but still in the summer should work out really well.
I'm not sure when. Last time we spoke to you, you said August was a really good time to visit.
It all depends on, lately the weather has been completely upside down, like the northern part of Norway gotten the best weather, summer weather, and here south it's been raining like crazy. So it's kind of, you're never not quite sure what you're going to get. So, but of course, June, July, and August are great months.
Last time we spoke, you said May is quite a good month because there aren't too many bugs.
But it's still kind of cold, and you can get snow in the mountains, and some of the roads are blocked.
You said on one of the mountain passes there was still 11 meters of snow.
Yeah, on the Suleskar mountain pass. That was an extreme year.
God, if we have 11 centimetres, the country grinds to a halt. It's chaos.
Don't worry, we have that here as well. In the big cities, everybody running around on summer tires, and you just like, oh, surprise, it's snowing and it's -degrees outside.
Are winter tyres the law?
Yes. When the conditions demand it, there you are obliged by law to run with the proper tires. Or you can lose your license.
Crikey.
There's a lot of accidents with that kind of stuff here.
Do they put salt on the roads?
A lot of it. It's messing up your motorcycles like you won't believe. I do know there's a brand you spray down your bike with, AX50 or something.
Yeah, ACF50. Do you use that?
No. I don't ride my bike in the wintertime. I think it's horrible to ride when the temperature drops below 5 degrees. It kind of takes the pleasure away from it. I'm not that keen. I ride so much motorcycle all through year. For wintertime, it's okay to take a break.
We went out at the weekend, didn't we, Clive, with a friend of ours, and I did come back from that thinking, this is not a winter pursuit. It was quite hard, wasn't it?
Well, I have a sort of a 10-mile ride home from where we usually finish, and it was cold and getting dark, and that just wasn't fun, was it really?
No.
Kind of lost the edge, really. But that said, we can still go out in the winter most of the time. There's only a few days in the year when we can't go out. You just have to wrap up warm, don't you? You have to wrap up warm, put an extra cardigan on.
Yeah, but there's so much else you can do, especially for me that with all my hobbies, it's kind of like having those months away from motorcycling kind of picks the interest peaking again when the season starts. Even if I really hunger for going for a ride sometimes, I know that the pleasure is not that long lasted because of the weather and the temperatures. I just wait until spring.
It's motorcycle fasting, isn't it, in a way? Makes you appreciate it more, I think.
Without a doubt.
We still need some kind of motorcycle fix during the winter months, and I think that's what the pre-Dakar event is all about, is getting that fixed. We have a big motorbike show on down in Birmingham at the moment, so I'm going to go to that at the weekend, and Noel's already been. But yeah, we need more of those events, and I'm talking to some people to try and arrange a few more of them as well, so watch this space.
Here in Norway, we have every second year, we have the Motorcycle Expo in the capital of Norway, and this year, our good friends from AGP Nordics, Christian and Petra, are arranging a adventure Expo in Sweden, because when we were in the Sweden Expo last year, I was attending the Moskomoto booth or expedition or showcase or what you want to call it. We were the only true adventure stand. Everyone else was kind of like the guys with the tie and suit, and it felt more like you were going into a car dealer to see at bikes instead of kind of getting that adventure vibe and the things that we kind of appreciate most from the adventure motorcycling thing we are doing. I do think that adventure has become such a huge deal in the marketing scheme of everything, and I do think that adventure expos alone will take off. It will be a new thing in the years going forward.
Listen, we need to introduce you just in case anybody hasn't heard of you. I can't believe anybody that listens to this podcast doesn't know you, but we'll come on to that in a minute. But there are a couple of seemingly relatively new events in Scandinavia, aren't there? There's the
Skog, yeah.
Skog.
Yeah, like forest.
Take your word for it. And then there's also the Outduro Scout, which I think was a new event, wasn't it, this year?
Yes, but that is in Latvia.
Oh, it's in Latvia.
That's in the Balkan countries, yeah. But still, there's a guy there, a really good guy, Ole Marius. He's a Norwegian. He has a Latvian wife, I think, and he lives over there. So he's part of the crew. And that's how I got involved in all that.
What was the thing at Mangenwood?
Mangwood Inn, yeah, that was just on the Swedish Motorcycle Expo. Me, Matthias, and Robert came together with Moskomoto and a couple of other friends. And we just get together out on town, take a couple of beers, relaxing after the show. And we just came together and in a general agreement that we have to do more of this. We are kind of becoming more of a family and good friends that meet up and do stuff together. It's not like this company and this company. It's more like we are a crew and a gang that love what we do and we want to spread it and do more of it. Let's meet up in Sweden in between fairs and expos, because we had Skog. Moskomoto went to Skog, and then they had a couple of days off before they had to go to the Overland Expo. That is first time in the Scandinavia with both overlanding trucks and motorcyclists. In between all that, we found out that we want to do something special for the adventure community. So we went out scouting for routes, finding place where we could set up camp and maybe do something in the future regarding adventure. If not a festival, but come together for people to visit and show up and have a good time. But that is still in planning. We don't have anything kind of down on paper yet. We just know that we want to do something more.
Well, listen, everybody, if you haven't realised, it's only bloody Thomas Hansen all the way from Norway. Again, part 2. Introduce yourself, Thomas. For those fools that have never watched your videos, tell us who you are, what you do.
Oh, yeah, thank you for that. Just rise the bars just a little bit more than I expect.
Match that energy, Thomas.
Yeah, I really have a hard time with that. But still, yeah, my name is Thomas. I'm an adventure rider situated on the west coast of Norway. Been riding motorcycles for 20 years and have a YouTube channel where I call myself TSHansen. I just share my passion through my camera and my lens and try to make as adventurous videos that I can imagine.
For those of us watching in English, that is TSHansen, TSHansen.
I still really miss you on Instagram, Thomas. Are you never coming back to Instagram?
He's back.
I'm back.
When were you back? Why haven't I been told about this?
It's like giving me cocaine. It's absolutely horrific to start that scrolling, and it's just like, I'm too soft of a mind to stay away from that shit. So I kind of, when I went back I was sitting down with Rule from Moskomoto, and he said, Thomas, you just have to go back to Instagram. Everything happens there. Every business thing and all that crap is happening on Instagram. So you need to be part of that. And I thought, okay, great, I'll be back again. But then I just started uploading reels and trying to promote my video thing and see if I could have a different creative angle on everything. And so far it's been quite good, actually. But still, I haven't kind of found my angle on it, but I do it every now and then.
Oh, so you've been there. I'm following now. You've been there since February.
Yeah.
Damn. Are you still doing the...
No, I haven't done that yet, because the problem is that I have a hard time saying no. And when people send me a message, I really feel obligated to answer. And every time I do the and I do something personal, my inboxes get flooded of things, and people start sending me reels they think is funny. And I just sit there and answer a lot of messages. And I really don't want to let people down or kind of push them away. So I feel obligated to answer, and it just takes too much time. And I I can't do that. I can't get people so close on Instagram again because it takes up too much of my time that I don't have.
How much do you like the reel format?
I do like it in the regard of it's opening a new creative outlet, and you have to think on it on a completely different manner because the trends and everything is so much more into the nows. And I think it's a really great creative space, but I also think there is way too much rubbish and too much reposting and crap that is completely brain dead. That is kind of taking the bigger part of it. So the people that actually make great stuff are kind of put down because it's a hard game, to be honest.
Do you create it within the app or do you do it on a PC and then...
No, I do everything in DaVinci Resolve on my computer and then I just upload it to Instagram. On the new Mac now, you can screen mirror your iPhone on the Mac, so you can have it like a pop-up window and you can do everything. It's quite genius. The new Mac system has been really good for that kind of stuff.
You see, I love it because I don't have to get involved with any of that. I can just create it in the app on my phone. I'm coming back from the bike show yesterday on the train and I'm just sitting on the train and in 5 minutes it's done and I don't have to fire a laptop up.
Well, hang on a minute. It's not quite the same. No.
I think that is also so brilliant with the Reels and the TikToks and Snapchat and what not everything is called these days, is that it is much more accessible for everyone to make, if not really great stuff, but you can still get your word out there and be noticed and do stuff that is brilliant. Like the guy in UK that lives in that caravan, that absolutely maniac who talks really loud and with the tattoo and beer and whatnot. I forgot his name. I think it's been on your show a couple of times.
Oh, you mean Guy Markham, the fabulous Guy Markham. Yeah, we are going to get him on at some point.
Yeah, he's really articulate and he lives in a farm. And yeah, it's kind of like he has a way of express his geniusy or art form or what you want to call it. And I think that is absolutely brilliant. And I think, and that is the beauty with this thing, at least it is for me, that this creative space is more like showing that we can all be artists, modern artists, so we show kind of what we are passionate about. It doesn't matter if you do it like this or that, as long as you have a platform you can showcase it in. A lot of people resonate with that.
I'm going to enjoy catching up with that. That's going to be great. That's going to keep me up till 2 a.m.
Oh, it's not as if you've got to get up for work, is it? So
let me ask you guys a question. How have you been doing?
That's not how this works. That's not how this works. No, go on, you can. I'll let you. As soon as it's you.
Yeah, what have you guys been up to? It's been kind of like, I see you have been busy walking around with the tie and suit and talking with big stars like Adam Ryman, the guys from the Lightweight Festival. And I did see some other, I would say, celebrities through the light. What was it? The award? Wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess we have. I'm kind of thinking, well, nothing's really changed. We just talk to people and record it and I edit it and we release it. But yeah, you're right. We curate a stage at the Lightweight Adventure Festival, which is held in July in the Peak District in the UK. We started this will be our 3rd year of the awards, or is this the 4th year? The whole world of, and I'm sure it's the same the world over, of publishing and things like that is a bit murky, we found out. So the idea with the awards that we do is we decide what the categories are going to be. We're probably going to do around 15 categories this year. We did too many in the first year. And we get listeners to vote for their favourite helmet, favourite adventure helmet or favourite trail helmet. And then the ones with the 5 most votes go to a public vote and they win the award. No money changes hands. It's all basically down to people that actually buy and use the stuff that wins the award. So we're kind of keeping that pure. So that's something they seem to be taking off a little bit now.
That's cool. I think it's a good thing because people are a little bit more aware of, or maybe know two of the correct categories, and then you kind of get a tip or two about the new people or new products or whatnot. So it can be a good thing.
I know quite a lot of people that have sent me photographs of them wearing things that they've bought. In fact, whole outfits that they've bought.
Isn't that amazing how that stuff works?
Yeah, absolutely. I even know somebody that bought some Crocs just so they could buy one of our gibbets to wear.
I can't begin to describe how many people sent me the picture of your guys putting out the new Merc with the Croc marks. I think I got at least 150 DMs with that crap. And I just like, holy crap, and they didn't tell me, and I was a little bit disappointed, but still, yeah, I think it's hilarious that so many people recognize me for the Crocs, and now you put out Mercs, and I just like, it has to be.
You've got a package winging its way to you right now with a number of buffs and a number of Crocs and stickers and all
that
sorts.
Will be
there,
showcased in a fashionable manner, I promise.
We've only been to 2 festivals, but we did have a great time at both of those where we met people, a lot of people that we just know through the internet, and bumping into them that was great fun.
We've done 3 festivals with the Lightweights.
Yeah, but 2 this year, which were really great.
And it is nice to meet people that have been on the podcast, and we've had a fantastic reaction from the people that we've not met before, we've only talked to, that we then get to meet in person. This year it's a bit of an Australian contingent, wasn't it, with Adam and Dave
from the Mad TV show.
Yeah,
he's an absolute legend as well.
Well, you sat down with him and his wife for hours, didn't you?
Oh, I had a lovely hour and a bit with him and Darren Higginson, who sort of travelled down to Sydney with him, London to Sydney. That was great fun. He was great to talk to. His wife was a real hoot. She was great fun.
But that's the thing about motorcyclists, is everybody is pretty blooming approachable.
Yeah, it's kind of like a different race. We're kind of a different sort of breed or people. And we had the same thing going to Auturo, because there was a guy, Steve, from Australia, who went all the way from Australia all the way to North Cape in Norway, riding with a couple of buddies, and they were put up for hostage in Pakistan or some Taliban thing, and it was quite scary, and he shared some of his stories, and it was just insane how much that guy had experience in that short amount of time traveling that thing. To meet up with him, because of Matthias met him in the forest of Sweden, and he just randomly said he had nothing to do because he was waiting for the trip down to Denmark again to meet some family. So we invited him to join us on Auturo Scout, and he kind of met up with us there, had a good time, and he took the ferry back to Sweden with us because he was continuing to Denmark. But just to getting to know him just on a whim like that, and ended up sharing so much stories from his life. It was absolutely amazing. It was crazy, to be honest. It's such a humbling experience.
We need to get his name and get him on the podcast.
I can send you a message about that guy. He is absolutely, fascinating guy. A really fascinating guy.
So how have things changed for you in the last nearly 3 years? You now also do a podcast. It's not very good compared to ours, but
no, it's not a podcast, is it? Not compared to you guys. You are kind of the where we want to be, and me and Robert and Matthias has been good friends online for quite some time, and we finally met up in the Swedish forest and met face to face. That was kind of awkward in a way, but still we kind of found out that we are 3 unique voices in this community here in Scandinavia. Not many others do it and have the passion that we have. We want to make more. We want to do something else. And Robert came up with the brilliant idea that we should do kind of like a podcast thing and see if that could be not only for the audience to get to know us better, but it also like a beer chat for us to kind of ventilate and talk about issues that we might have or thoughts we have about the community, just like a man cave mental outlet sort of thing. Yeah, some people watch it and think it's great, and we think it's quite fun, so we enjoy it.
It's fun doing it yourself, and it's well worth a watch because it's all on YouTube, isn't it? And it's called Nordic ADV TV, and it is you, Thomas Hansen, Robert from Nomad Sweden, and Matthias from BRAP and CAMP. You all have your own YouTube channels, and you all do the cracking podcast as well.
Yeah, okay. It depends on who you compare yourself to. In all, I have to be humble and say you guys are the absolute stars in the
fucking gold standard, mate, as we call it over here.
Yeah, you are, without a doubt. I know you don't like to hear it, but you are absolutely.
No, we do like to hear it.
The last couple of years has been quite busy, to be honest. It's been a lot of ideas, a lot of videos, some trips. I came to the conclusion that I wanted to do this full time. I wanted to make a living out of this in the regard, not necessarily YouTube, but having a production company, starting up, doing commercials for local brands and companies. It just spiraled into a thing that you start working with other brands. I got the amazing possibility to join Moskomoto, and I also had the possibility to work from Yamaha. So it kind of opened so many doors, and something I have to decline and say no to, but there's some brands that really resonate with who I am and what I do, and I find it really kind of a little bit proud to have that kind of business agreement pitched to me, and they really want to put their name on my name. And I think that is starting to build up a little trademark or name for myself in that regard. And I think that is has been all worth it. So even if it's been a lot of work, it's been quite good.
That's amazing. Seriously, well done.
That is amazing. And also a little bit annoying. I walked onto the Honda stand yesterday at the NEC.
Yeah.
They had no idea who I was. Couldn't give a monkey's.
The people that did recognise him, Thomas, just asked where I was.
Yeah, isn't that even better?
And walked off disappointed because I wasn't there.
Where the fuck is Clive?
Yeah, I might have made that up. So have you been able to give up the day job then, Thomas?
Not yet, because of course, my family situation, my kid and the house and mortgage and all that stuff. But I'm really working hard to make that happen.
So you would like to give up the day job?
Oh yeah, any day. I could quit tomorrow if I had enough money to go by. But now I have too much commitment going on, so I kind of need to pay off certain stuff and free myself a little bit from mortgage and all that stuff before I can kind of pull it. Because I want the freedom to travel and freedom to do what I like as well. And if I could, of course, quit job now, but then I kind of have to really struggle to get the ends to meet. And I don't see the point in that because my work is so great. I absolutely love my job. But yeah, one day.
You've changed bikes, obviously, from a KTM 790 to the Yamaha. So you're actually working with Yamaha now.
There were two bikes that came out that absolutely fascinate me. And that was the Tenere 700 and that was the KTM 790. Specs-wise, I thought that the Tenere 700 was a crappy bike. And I thought KTM was the bomb and that was the best bike. It didn't help that Robert bought the Tenere 700. I couldn't have the same bike as him. So I went for the KTM. I thought that was what I needed and being kind of like the gravel maniacs and all that. But I found out that I'm stopping every 50 meters to put up my tripod. I'm more an easygoing adventurer that try to showcase that you can go on the trails having fun without being a hooligan or going, hardwire. Then I found out that the World Raid was announced. That was a little bit more bulky. It had better suspension. It had kind of all the things that I thought, or spec-wise, was missing on the regular Tenere. So I went down to my shop and bought that. And when I came down to the shop, the guy who sold me the bike recognized me from YouTube. He was actually following me. And we started talking. We got a great connection. And it just kind of... I think it was fun going down there, and he think it was fun talking with me, and the relationship kind of grew into each other. And then they'd say, "We love what you do. How can we help you? What can we do going forward where we can help you and you help us?" So it's kind of just spiraled into becoming friends and working together.
Did you pretty much fall in love with the bike once you got it?
Absolutely.
Because it sounds amazing, doesn't it? And it looks fantastic.
It is the first bike I bought straight out of the shop that fits me like a glove. I didn't have to adjust anything. It's kind of just like it felt like home. All the others, I need to lower the foot pegs and I need to rise the bar a little bit because I was a little bit uncomfortable or my shoulder didn't relax like how it should. The only thing on the Tenere that was not as comfortable as on the 790 was the seat. But that was kind of just like an adjusting thing because I get used to it after a couple of miles. But right out of the shop, it felt a little bit hard and awkward. It has never been a problem for me, but I know a lot of people complain about it.
You're 6'7", aren't you?
Yeah, I'm 200 centimeters. I'm not sure how much that is in your measurements.
You've done the same things to your bike that Robert's done. How do your two bikes differ?
He put on a rally tower. He upgraded the suspension, and he did. I'm not sure everything Robert has done, to be honest. But we have started to replicate each other much more now than we did earlier. That's for sure.
Can I just say, listener, that Thomas and Robert are allowed to have big bikes because they live in Scandinavia and they just ride on massive gravel tracks at great speed.
It's also really, I've seen a lot of that lately, that it really depends on where you live. And the trails are so different in different countries. And up here, it makes no sense to have a small adventure bike because there's so many transport steps you need to take to get to the good parts, and the good parts are not that challenging. It's kind of just all normal gravel roads. But of course, if you go down to some of the tricky parts in Albania or Greece or even in Romania and those countries, Latvia, on the Balkan countries with all the sand, you started to understand really quickly that a lighter bike is much better. There's not a perfect bike. You have the great transporter bikes and you have the great adventure or enduro bikes, and there's kind of one in the middle that miss the mark in a way.
Tell us about some of the other brands you work with. I know you work with quite closely with Amok, who make the hammocks, and you're a big fan of Trangia stuff as well. Tell us about some of the other great Scandinavian brands that you use.
I try to focus mostly on pushing out or supporting local or Norwegian or Scandinavian brands. A lot of them I don't work for, but I find it important to kind of support the locals or the stuff that goes around in the community and whatnot. I work with Amok. Those were actually the first guys that reached out to me and wanted to work with me. And I hold that really dearly. And it's more about kind of the principle of they believed in me. Those were the first guys that believed in me. And I really put all my support in them as well, because I absolutely love their products. I even bought them before I was offered a sponsorship or ambassadorship with them. Then, of course, it's been a couple of other brands that has shown me interest that I have been trying, and I kind of didn't want to invest too much in, or what to say. And I was offered the opportunity to work for Moskomoto. That was a brand that I have been using or bought for my own money. I've been using for quite some time. And those are kind of it's not only a brand, but it's the community they create. They are so passionate about what they do. Everybody who works for Moskomoto is riders themselves, and they are so invested in making community-based events and whatnot. So I think it's more like a bigger thing than just products itself. And that is resonate with what I do as well. And I work with Dunlop Tires. They reached out to me this year and wanted to ask if I was willing to try their tires out, and I said yes, I can test them out, but I can't promise anything because I haven't ridden with Dunlop since I had a racing bike for many years back. And I absolutely love those tires, and I thought, yeah, this is great, this is something I can put my name on. And there is Peak Design. That is for photos and stuff like that, like tripods and bags and whatnot. But I've used their anchor points and slings for years, photography things, and now they started with the mounts to the bikes and have really intuitive ideas about that. And so I have worked with, because they are also professionals and highly respectable in the business. I don't want to forget anyone. Yamaha, Bergen, of course, my local shop that is the brand Yamaha store here in west coast of Norway. This week I signed a deal with Helle Knives. That is the bushcraft knives and the Norwegian old traditional Scandi knives. And that is something that is really dear to my heart, because not many know that, but I'm a wood carver and I have been a knife collector for my whole life. I think I have 250 knives now, and yeah, I have a disease. They saw a review I did of the newest knife, because I really think that is the best knife I've ever found or come across. And I wanted to show that, and they really loved what I did and asked if I was willing to work with them going forward. And that I had to say yes to.
What kind of things are you carving?
Spoons, kuksas, and yeah. Oh, do you have the Granforskbruk?
I've got 3 Granforskbruk.
Yeah, they're absolutely amazing. They're great. And the Swedish really knows the stuff when it comes to camping, access. Like you said, Trangia, Primus. They have so many great products, and they are so simple but yet so unique. I don't want to brag too much about the Swedes, but that stuff they really got going for them.
Which particular Dunlop tires do you have on your Tenere?
Trailmax Raids now. And those are the 50-50 tires, or 60-40 tires, what I call it. But I think it's I wouldn't say that I have tried all adventure or 50-50 tires on the market, but out of those I have tried, I think those are one of the best. It's really, really great. And I hear in the communities as well, they have shaken the cage a little bit, delivering performance and mileage that a lot of people compare them to the Anarchy Wilds. That is quite popular. But of course, it's all about compromises when it comes to tires. If you really want to go off-road, you probably want to look more into the knobby side, or motos, or probably the 908 RR tires that are really solid knobbies from Dunlop. Those are the two sets I'm riding on. 908 RR tires from Dunlop and Trailmax Raid.
Coming back to some of your film outputs, you really seem to have stepped up in quality, not just the actual shooting and the editing, the whole thing, quality that you produce. And even just looking at you now on the screen, the camera that you're using is really good quality.
It's all about the details.
Tell us a little bit about what you've done to improve your film.
I think it's just come down to failing, trying all over again, be really self-critical without putting yourself down, but put up on screen your own work, compare that to other things that you really like or enjoy or look up to and see what they did right and what I did wrong, or the opposite way around. So I'm really self-critical to my own work in a positive way, I think. And I really try to focus more on, now I kind of have down the visuals. I have down the editing, all that kind of stuff works for me now. And that is kind of become second nature. And it kind of gives me a good flow. So now I start to move more into how can I improve sound? How can I improve storytelling? How can I play on people's emotions better? How can I get people to resonate with what I want to show or tell? And it's kind of like my artistical impression. I'm trying to focus more on that, become more unique in my own scent, tell more about me, not trying to replicate what others do and try to do it for myself. I think the last year or so, I have become more myself in the way of express myself through the camera, if that makes sense. Every time I pick up the camera, there's something new to learn. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
What's the last bit of kit that you bought?
For my camera,
You've reviewed quite a lot of action cameras, haven't you, recently as well?
No, I haven't reviewed them. I think action cams are a really interesting scene, and there's a lot of stuff coming out there, and they're pushing really hard based on wrong information, in my opinion. It's not wrong information, but they focus on the wrong things, and I see a lot of people buy into the hype, and they get a little bit disappointed because they can't get the same result that maybe I or somebody else gets, and I don't quite understand why that action cam is better than the other action cam for death or this or whatnot. And
when you say an action cam, do you mean a thing like a GoPro?
Yeah, a GoPro or a DJI or a Ace Pro or what the name of all them are. They are all cameras and they can all do a certain thing. But if you want to vlog or get your voice through a microphone into or from your helmet and into the camera, DJI are better than GoPro. If you want the best image quality under good lighting condition, I think GoPro is the better option. And it all comes down to what you prefer. But if you're just a point and shooter, you pick up the camera, that's a whole different thing again. So I kind of geek down a little bit when it comes to gadget like that, because I'm really passionate about the video work. And for me, it's more about the nitty gritty and pixel peeping. And I try to also talk outward about that my preference when it comes to a camera isn't necessarily right for you.
If somebody is new to the TSHansen YouTube channel, which film should they go and watch? Which is one of your favourite films?
I think that is quite obvious. The one with the most views. I'm not sure what it is with that video, but it's me traveling around in the epic Norwegian mountains. And it's just like I have seen the whole video back a couple of times myself as well. And it's just like I'm in a different sync. I'm in a good mood. Everything is going the right way. I just feel like that is my absolute best production to this day. And I think that shows in the numbers as well. That is without a doubt the ones that it's most viewed on my channel.
Motorcycle camping adventure into the epic Norwegian mountains. 1.2 million views.
It's so beautiful. It's so well paced. There's never a shot where you think, that's enough of that. That's gone on too long. It's just beautifully paced. I remember messaging you saying, it was keeping me up all night. And it really was. I just couldn't stop watching it because it's gorgeous to watch.
I haven't quite figured out what was going on in that video, but it clearly shows or display an image that people can resonate with, and they get that excitement out of both being on the road, see epic views, and everything just comes together in a good mix. And I think I was really, really lucky with that production.
Do you get many people saying that they've travelled to Norway because they've seen your films?
If I got a penny for every time I did, as somebody said that, I would be a millionaire.
Noel's already been, but that's why I'm going, having seen your films. And most people know that the fjords of Norway is some of the most astonishing scenery in the world. So I'm really keen to see that firsthand. But yeah, your films have really inspired me to want to go next year.
That is also quite a humbling thing. And the funny thing is that I also get a lot of, I wouldn't say hate, but I would say that I get a lot of comments like, when are you going on a real adventure? Or when are you going on a different country or whatnot? And I totally get that, because if you compare Norway to Albania or Turkey or Australia, or you can really go off grid and really be an adventure. In Norway, you have a big town in half an hour away, in no matter what direction you go. It's kind of like you are really not out of your comfort zone riding in Norway. Yes, the weather can be poor and you can meet a lot of obstacles that way, but it's not like going through Morocco alone. And for me, I totally get it, and I understand that people probably want to see how I portray Africa or Morocco or Spain or Portugal or whatnot. But the fact is that we all have lives, we all have family, and we all have commitments that we can't just run away from. And I'm in the middle of my life now, 42 years old, and I can't just decide to go. There's so much else going on that I need to be really specific on what I can do. And so I choose to do what's near, and I absolutely love it. And people have to take it for what it is.
I think that's very unfair, because it's not as if in your films you're making out that there's any great jeopardy or you're in any great danger. You show it as it is. So I don't think that's unfair for people.
I try to be honest about that, at least.
Can I give you some advice as to how to deal with those people?
I think it's fair. All critics are somewhat a good pointer in what you should put focus on. I use it as a motivational thing to go. You should always listen to a critic, because they might have something right, but you don't bash yourself down or put yourself down over it. But think about it, see what you can do in the future, and try to meet them halfway.
Wonderful. I hope you take that on board, Clive.
No. What you do is you insult them, you can use some fantastic English swear words, and then block them forever. That's the way you do it.
Believe me, when I feel people treating me unfair, I can rage like you won't believe. I can just lose my mind. I think, what the peep.
That's what Robert said about you.
I can really also have the possibility to sit down, breathe, think through what has been said. What is my trigger? Why did I trigger on that? And try to be self-critic about how I can use that in an idea, a new video, or maybe address the issue that is kind of underneath the surface. So I use it for all it's worth.
He uses it for fuel, Clive.
He's just a better man than me.
I wouldn't say I'm better, but I have burned so many. I have been so much frustrated on people that I can't change anyway. So why should you? Why try to? You can't fix stupid. You just let them be and go on with your life.
We can all learn from that, but I'm not going to. So what do you think Robert did say about you?
In all honesty, I think he said that I'm his best friend, his biggest influencer, and I'm one of the best person alive.
He said all of those three things.
I do believe so, yes.
Do you understand the phrase outspoken?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said you were outspoken, basically. He said, Clive, if he saw you, he would call you, Clive, you're fat.
I'm not sure if it's a diagnosis or what it is, but I'm born without a filter. So I say what I think, and I mostly, if I see you do something or have done something stupid to your hair or whatnot, I just say it without thinking. And sometimes that can be a strength, but sometimes that can be really hard for some. And that's why I have few friends and a lot of enemies.
Well, there's a lovely phrase here that applies to you, isn't there? There's a lovely British phrase. I don't know if it translates very well, but that I would say that you're a person that doesn't suffer fools gladly.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think I possibly have the same thing, but I get to edit me out of these podcasts, which is quite handy, really.
There's always something good with those sayings. There's always something good to be learned by stuff like that.
Had you communicated a lot with Robert before you met him?
Yeah, a lot. I think we were good friends online for over a year before we actually met face to face. There was something we were planning, because we have that chat group, we have our own messaging group and whatnot, and we were sitting there and we started to talk because Matthias was called in as well, but he couldn't meet because he was on some event or whatnot. And me and Robert were just sitting there having a couple of drinks and started talking. We were both surprised how similar we have been through our life, what hobbies we have had, what we trigger on, what we focus on, We both play underwater rugby. Do you know what that is?
Underwater rugby?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you call it that in England, but that's directly translated from Norwegian, underwater rugby. It's in a pool and underwater instead. It's not the most watchable friendly sport out there. Me and him are so good friends now, did the same thing when we grew up. It's just like mind-blowing. And we have so many other things in common, the same diagnosis, the same passions for stuff. And yeah, we have a spectrum of things that we have in common. And that was quite interesting. On YouTube, because I'm having an adventure channel, I think I had 5% women watching my channel. And then I put out a video from my cabin. And it went from 5% to 35%. And it's the first time I got sexual, kind of like they wanted me to take my shirt off more.
Things are going really well, aren't they? This is fantastic.
I've reached a certain level now. I'm a little bit ashamed, but a little bit proud as well.
Do you keep all these messages away from me, Clive? Do you shield me from them?
Yes.
Thank you for doing that.
So when you guys come to Norway, we should do a team inside the hot tub that I have outside. That could be quite interesting. I have an idea for a thumbnail.
I think I might be busy that day. Thomas, we're not coming together because Noel is very antisocial and he's going to come on his own.
We can edit him in. AI do great jobs these days.
I want to do a big solo trip up through Sweden and then come back down through Norway. And I wanted to ask, well, there's loads of things I want to pester you with that about. But the one thing I do want to ask you is, should I take a tent or a hammock or both?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say on the Norwegian side, pitching a hammock going north from Trondheim, also half the way up north, the tree line and everything gets a little bit more difficult. So I would say that a tent is much better going up north if you don't have a clever or creative way of pitching it.
I'm not going above the tree line, so that might not be an issue.
No, but the tree lines are much lower. There's no vegetation in the same way up north in Norway compared to the south. I do think that most of the tourist places are fully packed, and it's quite a lot of people up there with caravans and whatnot. So I do think you will be better off in a tent. But in the Swedish forest, on the other hand, you are much better off with a hammock. Probably do both.
We had a lovely day out with Robert in the summer.
Yeah, I heard rumors about that.
We met him quite close to home. It was such a highlight of our year, wasn't it? Just having that day out with them.
It really was. It was a perfect day out as well, wasn't it? We had amazing sunshine.
I'm a little bit pissed that he met you guys before me. And I think I told him a couple of times, and you son of a...
Because in fact, you introduced us to Robert, because we spoke to you first and you said you should speak to...
Yeah, and that's a little bit painful as well. I should kept my mouth shut. Yeah, but Robert is a fantastic guy. I absolutely loved his creativity, his way of being. He's quick with the joke. And me and Robert has actually spent a night together in Stockholm in the same bed. We were like two girls just out of high school and giggling and farting and telling jokes. And it was one of the best nights I've had in a long time.
We didn't get that treatment.
What next for TSHansen? Have you got any plans for films or trips or what's coming up?
There are so many plans. It's kind of the only thing I have too much of. My video list on Apple Notes are 52 and counting. I have 2 trips that are in edit. I did a trip up to Lofoten this summer, visiting my little brother. That is a lot of footage around. I want to make that now in the winter. Next year's season starts out with the Motorcycle Expo in Norway, and then in Sweden. I'm going to attend there, and I get my new bike in spring. And then I just try to do a solo trip in hopefully in May, maybe. Then I will go abroad. I will not stay in Norway. I can say so much. But it's kind of like when you say it out loud, you feel like people expect it from you, and you feel you are guilty if you don't do it, or how to say it, you kind of committed in a way that... so I don't tell too much about what I want to do, because I feel like if I said it out loud, I really need to do it.
Well, I have a really weird suspicion, almost.
Yeah, but this is not about you, is it? We're talking to Thomas Hansen. the famous Thomas Hansen from Norway.
It'll stimulate a conversation, Clive.
Go on then, let's try.
If I talk about a trip, it means it won't happen. I'd rather just not tell anyone and then do it. I feel it's like it's more likely to happen if I don't talk about it.
Yeah, because every time I talk about it, it seems like my kid gets sick or something happened at home or whatever. And it's just like everything, the stars don't align. So it's kind of jinxing it. I'm not a superstition guy or what you call it in English, but I do think that there is, if you talk too much about it, it happens. That's why I really don't want to, it's only in my head, but if I don't commit to it, then I feel like I'm disappointing someone. But I know that I will try to spend much more time on the road. I did a lot of events. I did a lot of stuff last year just to try to open doors and see how much I could take or how much that I found enjoyment in. And I found that I'm not a salesman. I'm not a person that kind of are going to be on all events in all of Europe. For me, I do what I'm passionate about, and that is making video, telling great stories. And I would love to meet up with you guys and other people, but I want to be much more selective in what I choose, and I want to spend more time on the road and doing camping and that stuff. So that is what I plan on the beginning of summer. In the summer, I try to make the best of it. There's a couple of gravel courses that coming up here in Norway I want to attend. I want to help out a friend that trying to build a business there. And me and Robert and Matthias are going to Romania together, making a documentary, camping, Nordic ADV TV thing. We hope that can be fun.
And that will be a springtime trip, do you think?
September. And if I'm lucky, I can park my bike in Romania so I can go down there in winter and ride in Greece or other countries. And then I may be traveling with another famous influencer, but you never know. That is a little secret. I was sitting in a gas station and there came a guy up to me and he was looking at my bike. I was just resting and eating some lunch. He was a German guy and he started to talk to me about my bike and he always loved the Tanner and whatnot. And he took a look at my foot pegs and I ride with twin pegs, the Norwegian thing. And then he started to talk about Runa. And Runa is a YouTuber from Norway. She was also on ABR. She does travel videos on YouTube as well. And he was such a huge fan of her videos, and he told me that she was riding with twin pegs as well and started to explain to me who Runa was. And I'm a personal friend with Runa. And so I just played along and I didn't say anything. I just said, oh yeah, that's wonderful. Oh, I've never heard of that, and kind of like played like I didn't know. Then a friend of his was coming over and he was just like this in his eyes. He was just shocked and looked at me and he looked at his friend and, hey, you know who that is, right? And as he said, no, that's TSHansen. And so he just dropped and it just, you kidding? And it was just, yeah, that's me. And I was, no, I've seen all your videos. And it became a good laugh. And but yeah, I absolutely love encounters like that. Nobody knows my name. They only know me as TSHansen. But my actual name is Thomas. But I never use it in social media. So.
Massive thank you to Thomas for doing that. It's absolutely brilliant to catch up with him. He's a lovely fella and has become a good friend. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, that's it for another week. Some more exciting guests to look forward to until we see you at the Bike Shed on the 28th of December. See you there. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate your support. Don't forget you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you really appreciate what we do, you could consider supporting us on Patreon or buy us a coffee. Links are available on our website, which is tampodcast.com, tampodcast.com, where we also have a limited selection of branded stuff. But either way, please keep listening and spreading the word. See you next time.